it is time to look at your recent course, which is Mastering Chess Strategy Volume 2. Take your piece, play to the next level. What a catching title. And you are showing us, you're showing us a nice example from the course. And this is, of course, great that you're doing this live right now. It is one of your own games.
Indeed, it's a game I played back in Amsterdam 2011 against Indian Grandmaster Praveen Thipsay. And I like to use games I've played myself because I can totally remember my thought process, which is easier to explain rather than analyzing games of world's top players. Of course, other top games have been covered in the course as well. But let's have a look at the current position. It's
Okay.
white to play. And Arne, I will ask you the question, and of course also to the viewers. What's your take on the position? How do you evaluate, and how would you proceed? What kind of thoughts do you have here?
Well, it looks as if there are some tactical patterns which are available. Like if we get our knight out of the way, then we can attack the rook, which would probably be beneficial. On the other hand, well, there's like both kings are a little vulnerable, but of course the white king seems even more vulnerable than the other king because there was no castling yet. The bishop is looking at h4 to give a check. I don't think it's that big of a deal yet, but who knows, right? And then the rook is advanced. So yeah, the question is what to do with white.
Exactly. I'm going to help you a little bit.
Yes.
We are a pawn up
Oh,
as
thanks. Yeah.
white, and of course that is important to keep in the back of our mind. So looking at the position, I felt that my minor pieces, the bishops and the knight and the queen, they are quite decently placed. But my main problem is to find a good spot for the king. And that's what I was trying to figure out during the game, and that's also the kind of exercise I offer to the viewer. What are your thoughts regarding king safety here? What should white consider?
Yeah, interestingly enough, of course, you could castle to both sides, probably, because I guess you just haven't moved the rook yet, and neither the
That
king.
is allowed. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So interestingly enough, when I'm looking at the position, I do not see an immediate threat when you're castling kingside, which is super crazy because it's open as hell. But I don't see yet how black can manage to really yeah, get into there. On the other hand, if we would castle queenside, then the file or the open file on B would be maybe a bit too strong for black. The queen could go to B8, simple as that. The bishop could also move over to A4 later. If I would castle, if this is an option, then I would castle kingside.
Right.
On the last thing I wanted to mention, of course, you can also just move your king.
Where would you like your king to be?
On E2.
You use your imagination,
Yeah.
and this is next step. It's like you should not only think about where you want your king to be, but also how does it affect other pieces? Where would you like your rooks to be, for instance? That's actually equally important to ask yourself.
Gotcha. So my rooks should be, that would be really nice if they would be on H2 and H1.
Yeah.
Could attack the other side, and our king should be maybe on F2 or E2 if the bishop can move away or something.
Interesting. It's an idea which crossed my mind. I had a slightly different version in mind, as I started here with this move King F2, which it's not really clear what you're going to do yet, but at least the rooks are connected. Black gave a check on H4. I played King G2. The queen went to F6, and now I kind of followed your plan with Rook H2. So I might double rooks on the H file. My opponent played G5. But in fact, I came up with a slightly different idea, which I had in mind earlier already. I didn't play Rook H1, but what did I play here?
What did you play here? I mean, Ah, you played rook g1.
Rook G1, very nice move, with the idea to drop back with the king in the corner.
Yes.
And I really like this configuration. So I found a safe place for the king. And at the same time, also, I found a nice plan to do with my rooks. Like my rooks are guarding the king, and at the same time, they are building up the pressure against the black king.
Hmm.
So they are replacing the pawns as a shelter for my king. And well, that's the sort of thing I like to talk about in the course, like multi-purpose moves. Like you, it's not only about finding a safe place for the king, but at the same time, you need to think one step ahead. Like, what are you going to do with your other pieces after that?
Excellent.
And well, interestingly, the game continued with the move g4, and well, I just dropped back into the corner, and well,
Oh, yeah, true.
everything
Yeah.
is perfectly safe. Actually, after this move g4, the bishop is also no longer defended by the pawn, and basically, no matter what black is going to do, there follows rook to b4, but I can take on e5, winning another very important pawn as the queen. If it does take, which was played, I can take the bishop on h4. And here I'm up 2 pawns. Everything is perfectly controlled by my pieces. Rook b2, queen d1, knight f6, trying to hold on to the pawn on g4, but you're not really able to keep the g file closed. As I'm bringing in more pieces into the attack,
Hmm.
here you see bishop c4, eyeing the king and also the rook. It's a great attacker and the defender covering the h2
Once
square. So
again, multi-purpose move.
yeah, indeed. So rook c8, and here I decided to go for the exchange of black's most threatening piece, the queen on e5. You have to accept the exchanges, otherwise the rook on b2 is going to be hanging, and it leads to a winning position for me. Attacking the rook on b2, rook goes away. I take on f6. He takes my bishop on c4. And obviously, I have a lot of moves, like rook h8 is nice, but then the king may still go away. So instead, I played e5 first. Sometimes the threat is stronger than the move itself. And after the bishop moved away, I played e6, setting up a mating net against the king.
Hmm.
Well, black resigned here because, for instance, if you play a move like bishop h7, I can take on g4. Whichever way, I will be up 3 pawns, and soon my pawns will be promoted.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Very nice.
I think a nice little example of how I look at strategy, at multi-purpose moves,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's what helped me to win this game.
Now, Mastering Chess Strategy Volume Number 2 has a predecessor, but that was for which kind of rating?
Yeah, well, that was it was called actually basic chess strategy,
Hmm.
in which I explained basic concepts like open files, weak squares, and yeah, that is especially for those who are familiar with the how the pieces are moving, and like a little next step introduction to positional play. Yeah, this, as you can see, it's a bit more advanced as we cover topics like king safety, improve your worst piece, exchanging pieces which are out of play. How are you going to deal with that?
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think a lot of different levels can learn from it as I cover the material in the interactive format. So
Exactly, yeah.
you can try out yourself first. If you make a wrong move, I explain what is wrong with it and in which direction you should look for in the next attempt.
That is a lot of fun, actually. Yeah, once you, it's very, very addictive to try to find the best move, especially when there's like this interaction with you. This is also, in my opinion, a very, very good way to, even if you're a stronger player, to redo your basics. I remember a story from Elisabeth Peetz when she was doing a lot of basic exercises with me, like basic end games, basic strategy stuff. And a couple of months later, she gained 50 ELO points. And one of the questions was, how come you got such a big boost of ELO? And she said, like, probably because I was going back to the basics and relearning a lot of things and looking at them again. That
At,
helped a
at,
lot.
yeah, I think that's right. I mean, even if you feel like you have already reached a certain level, you're never strong enough for these kind of things. Repetition of exercises is actually the key. Also for us, sometimes I also have to look at very simple tactics or simple strategical ideas in order to have success. So I think thanks to the interactive format, I do make a bit of explanations, like I introduce the topics, but it's really this course is really made for you to get out of your chair and focus on what you have to do. I'm not teaching, I'm giving exercises to you and I'm helping the viewer along the way.
If this is interesting for you, the link, of course, is in the description. Just click on it and check out the course. There's also another little introduction video and some free examples to look at chess-based books. Thank you so much, Robert.